other deck we're going to look at here is going to be a Miss Fortune Aurora deck that was played in the Riftbound Weekly and actually got top 4 by Prismaticism. So I'm really interested in this deck, and I like it a lot because this is a deck that I have been trying to sell people on for the few weeks now. I actually brought it to my first couple of Riftbound Meta Weeklies. Now, if you're looking at this deck and you say, wow, this looks like garbage and looks junky and hard to play, it's because it's not the most intuitive deck to look at first. So the whole purpose of this deck is to ramp into your Dazzling Aurora card. So Dazzling Aurora is your game plan. For those of you that aren't aware, Dazzling Aurora is 9 mana gear that says at the end of your turn, you reveal cards off the top of your deck until you hit a unit, and then you play that unit ignoring all of its costs. So you play it for free. So what Miss Fortune does in this compared to things like Volibear is Miss Fortune gives you the purple region, which has some really strong units in it. So it has things like Mind Splitter in it. It has things like Soul Gorger in it. So that way, in the late game, you're ripping your opponent's hand apart with things like the Mind Splitter, and then you're reviving units and have effectively twice as many really good units with that Soul Gorger effect coming into play off of Dazzling Aurora. The ability to just end your turn with 0 units in play and then accidentally flip out a Soul Gorger, which then revives a Mind Splitter, and then you just put 12 might of units into play and disrupt your opponent's hand is absurd. This deck is actually very strong into everything that isn't hyper aggro, meaning it's good into everything other than like your Annie hyper aggro. Your Master Yi can beat it, but it's not the best matchup for Master Yi. And then the biggest reason that you don't want to play this deck is because when you hit Victor, that matchup is just about unwinnable, which is exactly what we saw in this Meta Weekly tournament. Is Prismaticism was cruising through the top cut, made his way to top cut, cruising, and then in top 4 he hit a Victor and then went 0-2. So that just again furthers in the point, but this deck is Kai'Sa's worst nightmare. This deck absolutely destroys Kai'Sa. There is 0 chance for Kai'Sa to ever beat Aurora in general, but especially this Miss Fortune Aurora where you have the Mind Splitters to rip your opponent's hands apart. It's really nice. Your play pattern for this deck is early on, you're really going to look for some sort of ramp card. You have things like Gust, and then in this deck, it doesn't have the fight or flights, but a lot of people, including myself, are liking the Gust, the fight or flights to have that early game tempo. If you can Gust a unit, that saves you typically 2 points, which is a whole turn early on, which is huge. And then there are some other packages you could play in the early game. This one focuses on the scrap heap to draw, the confront to draw, and then the one-up timelines. So the thing that this deck does over Volibear as well is it can consistently draw you into your Aurora without any draw spells at all. You have a 65% chance to have Aurora on turn 4, just by your natural draws, which is all Volibear and non-purple decks typically have. But with the addition of this purple card draw with things like Stack Deck, Timelines, Scrap Heap, your odds of finding Aurora just go up immensely from that. And then you have the double ramp card, you have the Mobilize, the Catalyst. So there's a lot of times where you're just simply casting Aurora on turn 3, and your opponents cannot deal with the turn 3 Aurora in any game 1, and then can't deal with turn 3 Aurora well, most sideboards, because you also get to bring in cards like Sabotage, again, the Mind Splitters to rip apart the hand, and you just have a lot of really good protection in this Miss Fortune deck. I think this deck is super underrated, super underplayed. Yes, you automatically lose to Victor, so it might not be the best tournament bring depending on the meta, but if you can dodge the Victor and you just simply want to beat Kai'Sa, want to beat the mid-range decks, this is going to be the deck to do it, and it's the deck that did do it. So that's all going to be it for me for this segment. Hope you guys enjoyed it.